I want to take a look at the distance. The distance. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's look at the distance. Take a look again at the first two verses that we read. Then seizing him, they led him away and took him into the house of the high priest, and Peter followed at a distance. Did you catch that? Peter followed at a distance. And when some there had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and had sat down together, look at that last phrase again. Peter sat down with them. I want to talk about the distance that sometimes forms between us and Jesus. And before we go any further, there are some that are going to be tempted to say, that doesn't apply to me. That applies to the other guy on the other side of the church. So I hope he's listening. And not necessarily, because let's remind ourselves, okay? Peter had his flaws, correct? Peter, he had just cut a guy's ear off, okay? Not a good day. So Peter has his issues. Peter has always had his issues. Peter was always the first to talk. He would speak first before thinking. It just happened. And here now, after Jesus has predicted that this is going to happen, Peter probably thought, well, okay, I'm going to try to stay tuned to what's going on with Jesus, but I want to do it in a way that's very comfortable. See, the distance that Peter followed Jesus here was a comfortable distance. Just enough that he wouldn't get arrested as well. Just enough that maybe he could get away with following Jesus and not a lot of people knowing it. Anybody see where I'm going with this? See, because here's the distance that tends to be formed in our relationship with God. And it's this idea that we can follow Jesus. In other words, we want to go to heaven, okay? But we'll follow Jesus just far enough that nobody else really knows that we're saved. That the people around us aren't really aware that we're a follower of Jesus. And we'll just kind of be at a comfortable distance from him. And so what happens is that we tend to follow him by doing things that we probably shouldn't do, or even slacking a little bit in our personal disciplines in our relationship with Jesus Christ. And what happens, we will say, yes, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. In fact, Jesus once told me, is on this rock, he will build this church. And here he is. Used to be Simon, now it's Peter, the rock. Jesus calls him Rocky, and here he is following Jesus, not real up close, but from a distance. Are you there today? Where your troubles are not necessarily the fact that you've decided to reject Jesus, but you've chosen to follow him from afar. You ever have that one friend that tends to kind of lag? Like you're in a group, and then it's just like, where's this person at? Where'd they go? Like my wife, last week, we were at the Ark, okay? My wife's got one of these cool mobility scooters, okay? That woman goes full NASCAR on that thing. I mean, it's just like, well, there she goes. And it's just like, I'm losing track of her. In fact, we were on a cruise together. She had one. My mother-in-law had one. Net's full NASCAR. My mother-in-law is full turtle. And so she had the Amish version of mobility scooters. And so to keep up with Nat, I kind of had to leave her behind. But then to keep up with my mother-in-law, I lost my wife somewhere. I thought, is this what this is supposed, is this what my crew's experience? And my wife's saying, just shut up and move on. Okay, so I will do that. She never does that, ever. What I'm trying to say is sometimes we lose track of the person that we're supposed to follow, especially Jesus. Sometimes maybe life can get in the way. Sometimes things have happened and our attention is so much on our issues and our crises and our difficulties, which we're not downplaying. But then we lose sight of Jesus. Are you following Jesus? You might say yes, but are you doing so from a distance today?